this is Paula White. She is the spiritual advisor, I think, to President Trump currently, but she is very much in this um, whole prosperity wealth type thing, and you'll see this in this clip that we're gonna watch. It's pretty. I don't think it's very long.
Someone is about to send you that.
Okay, it's about a minute long. So she is on a some type of a show, but I want to come into this looking at the idea of giving, and there's a little bit of irony I think in here. I'll point out once we get through the video. So
Someone is about to send you that $1 million check in the name of Jesus. You just simply need to be obedient. Whether it's 100,000, whether it's $10,000, it's going to be wonderful that you have your plaque. This is beautiful. I was blown away because I was like, he's going to think I stole some of my stuff from him, because God's been downloading several things that are so similar. Seriously. And you have got to right now become one of those pillars, become one of those people, whether it's the 10,000 or the 1,000. And with all due respect, as great as that name is going to be left there, there's a greater name that's going to be written. Every treasure you give here on earth is being stored up in heaven. There is a department of treasury in heaven. Now, I know Minution's over down here, but I'm telling you, there's a department of treasury in heaven that God is watching over everything you do, and you are storing up eternal treasure that will go so far beyond, I think, that we can even begin to imagine, that you are mandated by God.
So, did you guys know there's a Department of Treasury in heaven? So I find it ironic, and I was watching through these because I had seen all these before, and I was rewatching beforehand. But I find it ironic.
Telling you.
Not quite there. So she's saying this, and then the verse that pops up, Matthew 6:21, for where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. The irony, I think, of someone that is telling you that you need to send her a $1,000 check, because then God's going to send you, you're going to get $1 million check in the mail from someone from God, or whatever, pushing this prosperity garbage on people, that if you have to give to get. And this is I've done a lot of stuff on this, even talking about tithe. The idea of tithe is not actually I won't say it's not biblical. The idea that we have of tithe is not actually biblical. So and I if you give 10%, I think that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But the tithe comes from the Old Testament, and it's not a flat 10%. It's actually 20%. So it's in 7-year cycles, and it's 20% every year, except on every third and sixth year, it's actually 35%, I believe.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
you guys back?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was weird. I just lost connection. What was I saying? Oh, the tithe. So the Old Testament, it's actually 20% every year, and then every third and sixth year, it's like 35%. So it's not even a flat 10%. But that doesn't matter, because in the New Testament, we're told to be cheerful givers. We see examples in the New Testament where Paul actually did tent work, so that way the people that he was ministering to did not have to give him anything. And then we also see in the New Testament where they would there's stories of people selling houses and giving everything that they have to the church, and neither of those are criticized. I think it very much just 10% is far too much for some people, and it's far too little for some people. The point is, if your money has a hold of your heart, then that is a heart problem that you need to fix. And I think that what we see with a lot of people like this is money has a hold of their heart. And this is, I think, anybody that's telling you that you need to send them a check so that you can be blessed by God, is fundamentally problematic. Um, Again, this is one we may not spend a ton of time on, but what are your guys' thoughts on this kind of stuff, or am I completely wrong?
You're a heretic. No, I'm just joking. Kind of like with what you're saying, one thing is just like you could very easily point out with this stuff is it's like it seems like these people, pastors, whatever you want to call them, it's like you only ever see them talking about this, and it's just like that might be a telling sign right there. And you know, the Bible teaches, give without expecting anything in return. So always giving these promises. If you give, you're going to receive 100-fold back, and all this stuff. That's not really biblical. And yeah, you can maybe pull some stuff from the Old Testament, talking about Abraham to maybe prove it and all that. But if we just simply look at what Jesus taught us, he said, give without expecting anything in return. Don't let your right hand know what your left hand's doing. And he says, if you, I can't quote it perfectly, but essentially, if you give your gift out in public for everyone to see, you've received your blessing right there. But if you give in secret, my Father in heaven will bless you. And, just read Matthew 4, 5, and 6, the words of Jesus. And I think that can break it down pretty easy, but it feels like with these type of people, they'll cherry pick anything to prove it. When like you said, you even look at Paul, and he'll talk about I've been in seasons where I've had much, and I've been in seasons where I've had little. But I think it's like Philippians 4, and then Philippians 4:13 that says I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Well, he's talking about money in that in that paragraph. And Paul is the apostle of all apostles, in a sense. And you don't see in any of his letters him saying, if you give to my ministry, if you support me, God's going to do this for you. God's going to do this for you. You just don't see that. And honestly, what I've told people, I remember having this conversation with a group of people before, and it was specifically from a story of, I remember a church service I was in, and there was this pastor who came in from a different area, preaching, and they were talking about basically raising offering for something, and this pastor stands on stage and he's like, I am giving $10,000 of my own money, and he just makes this big thing about it. And I just am sitting there so uncomfortable and be like, you don't need to tell everybody this. And like you try to turn it into a thing of like, this is what I'm doing, so you should partner along as well. And I remember just talking to some people about that, and thinking, these ministries preach, having faith that God will provide and having all this. But I think at the root of it, they're the ones that lack faith because they have to stand on a stage and manipulate people to give to their ministry. So I think at the root of it, you don't have faith that God's going to provide for your ministry, so you have to do this. And I think, they make other people seem like they're the ones without faith if they aren't giving, but really it's the reverse.
Yep.
Yeah. And one of the things that was popping in my head was thinking back into the youth side of it. If say somebody in my generation sees something like that, which I mean, let's be real, they probably have. That's going to turn them away. That's going to turn them away like tenfold. They're like, yeah, they're just begging for my money. They don't care about my soul. They don't care about my salvation, whatever. They don't care about me. They just want my money. And, what if that's the first thing they see, and they think that every church is like that, or every, and so they don't take the chance to step into a church and, hear the word or talk to somebody about it, right? Because they think that it's just going to lead to them giving all their money away, or that conversation will come up. And that was just the main thing I was thinking, because, I mean, I'm not saying that I was like that at all, but I mean, I remember probably when I was younger seeing something like that, and I'm like, yeah, they're just trying to get your money. Like, when I was, because you'd see it more on TV now than or then when I was younger. Now it's just on your smartphones and all, but like people, I know, and it's back to that, skepticism, right? We're real skeptic, I think, because of all that when we were younger. We saw all that, we see all the stuff now, and we're like, we don't want to fall for it. Um, that's one of the dangers we have to be super careful of, is like, we don't want to turn people away. Like, especially if they are searching for that truth, like we talked about earlier. And that's one of the biggest things I think people it will turn people away because of that. So
People will. I don't remember who originally said this. I've heard a few people say it, but people will hate you because of Jesus. They shouldn't hate Jesus because of you, right?
mm,
Now,
yeah.
this I hadn't originally planned to bring this up, but it ties in, and this is the same lady. If I can get it, I don't want to watch a full like 2 hour long video. Um, I can't find it, at least not like just that. But so essentially, she is at some conference or something. I believe it's hers, or she was a key speaker or something. And she actually like would not let the service continue because they had not gotten the fundraising goal that she had set. It's like 100, and she straight up said people need to have a little faith, start coming up and doing the $1,000 checks or $10,000 checks, or whatever. And like it was just, uh, can you be any more obvious with it? I mean, completely stopping the service and criticizing people for not giving more. It's just it's bad. It's really bad.